Today, we're going to cover some very alarming news regarding Swiss watch exports into the US, a release from Swatch no one saw coming, among other things, so let's get into it. Hi everyone, my name is Jenny, and I know from my own experience how hard it is to keep up with the news and goodness, watch news especially. So to make life easier for you and for myself, I filter through all the blogs and sites to bring you the most important watch stories and releases of the past couple of days. So lean back, turn up the volume and get updated. Right, let's start out with something very exciting for most of us, but probably super exciting for that one person who ends up with it, because none other than Neil Armstrong's very own commemorative solid gold Speedmaster is coming to auction on April 17th of this year. It will be sold by RR Auctions live at the Royal Sonesta in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and it has an estimate starting price of about $2 million US. Originally, there were 28 of the 18 karat gold Speedies made to commemorate one of the most, I would say, significant moments in human history so far. It being people walking on the moon for the first time. And Neil Armstrong was given watch number 17 out of the 28 with a case back that reads, "To mark a man's conquest of space with time, through time, on time," and Gemini 8 Apollo 11, which is the mission's name. It is a watch that Neil Armstrong has been known to wear quite a lot, actually. And from, the photos available, you can actually see that this wasn't one of those, safe coins that some people like to call it, but a watch that has actually seen quite a lot of daylight, actually. And don't get me wrong, if any watch would be a safe queen, it would probably be this one, and it would be okay, I would say. But it's still very cool to see that Mr. Armstrong wore this one casually enough for it to be, scratched up like that. Big fan of this. Given the price and the status as a collectible, I think this watch will, just disappear again after it's been auctioned off for a very long time. The minute it changes its owner, which, is very unfortunate, but absolutely predictable. And, that's just that. In general, with watches like this, it's always cool to see them out for that brief moment in time when something happens to them. And it would be nice to see, other rare pieces pop out from time to time. So yeah. And then we have something, perhaps concerning coming out of Switzerland. According to the Federation of the Swiss Watch Industry, which just released a report, the wholesale value of exports to the US, for example, fell to 1.98 billion Swiss francs during the month, which makes this a decline of 8.2, when looking at the same month from 2024. Oh, by the way, if you're very into numbers and statistics, I'll have the link to the report ready for you in the description box down below if you want to read into it. But yeah, let's continue. So basically, there has been a very noticeable dip driven primarily by a slowdown in the key US market. Exports declined compared to previous months' figures, and kind of signaling that growth in Swiss watch shipments has softened. So the very important US market has shown weaker demand for Swiss watches, which some believe are, due to reduced consumer spending because of economic uncertainty. I think that's like such a broad explanation. I could cover basically everything. And while the US market cooled down, other regions either sort of held steady or saw like some very modest gains, like the exports to Japan or demand from mainland China and Hong Kong. But they still couldn't fully offset the drop in American demand. When looking at the data, you can see that the dip affected various price categories differently. So, for example, higher end watches remained somewhat steady, whereas those like mid and lower tier segments face more pressure. I will also link the article that talks about this a bit more for you down below, so you can read up on it if you want to. There's also quite a bit going on in the comment section down below, which I think is always interesting to see. So yeah, let me know what you think in this comment section down below too. And for new watch releases, we are going to start with something new from Ressence, which has been talked about quite a lot. Ressence is a comparatively young watch brand since they started out only 15 years ago. And I think you can absolutely see that when you look at the very distinct design language, which, can be a good or a bad thing depending on which side of the argument you stand on. So now, and because of course they have released a new watch series called the Type 7, which has an integrated bracelet, which is a first for the brand, made from, how could it be anything else, grade 5 titanium, all packed into Ressence's interpretation of a tonneau shaped case. And if the design wasn't striking, let's put it that way, enough, I totally had to do a double take when I read about what's inside the dial. Yep, not on it, I said in it, because it is a convex crystal that is filled with oil. Oil equals zero refraction when it comes to displays, and it creates this optical illusion that the dial markers are just, part of the crystal. I haven't seen this one in person, or at least not yet, but they will be at Watches and Wonders this year. And since this one is being released in April, I'm really hoping that they will showcase it there too. It is a 41mm watch, so far to be made available in 2 dial colors with a price tag of 36,000 Swiss francs, which comes down to about 40,000 US dollars. And oh my gosh, last but not least, can you actually believe me when I tell you that we get a new MOONSWATCH? What? Crazy, right? I mean, yeah, jokes aside, there is yet another MOONSWATCH, even though the last MOONSWATCH just came out, I think it was in February, so a couple of weeks ago. But it seems like Swatch has, I don't know, kind of lots of bioceramic just laying around, so they have to melt it into something, and otherwise, I don't know, something bad will happen. I don't know. It is crazy. They just produce these things as if there's no tomorrow. So this time we are graced with a true bubblegum pink MOONSWATCH to celebrate the annual appearance of the pink moon, which is basically the name of a full moon that appears in April. According to ChatGPT, because I had previously never heard of the term pink moon before, many cultures give folkloric names to each month's full moon, and apparently in North America, April's full moons are called pink moons, or just a pink moon. The name likely comes from the early spring blooms of a wild ground phlox, which is a pink flower that emerges around the same time the April full moon occurs. Despite its name, the moon itself, of course, does not turn pink. If a moon ever looks pink to you, there is either something incredibly wrong with you, or there's something really bad going to happen for the rest of us. So let's hope we will never get to see a pink moon. Either way, that doesn't stop Swatch from going full at it and giving us a sweet bubblegum pink MOONSWATCH with some really cute details, like you've got these little hearts on the chrono pushes, you get pink looms and a pink moon phase too. And as with all those crazy special editions from Swatch, this one will only be available at select boutiques, which I think is pretty disappointing, again, because this would actually, I have to be honest here, the first MOONSWATCH in a very, very long time that I would absolutely love to own. It will go for, I think it's $320, and I am very tempted to, sit down and find out in which stores they will actually be sold on April 1st, because, I think it just looks really spectacular to me, and I would love to wear this pink MOONSWATCH. I think the Venus with that blush pink was nice too, but I think that one is so much better. And that is basically all I have for you today. If you have enjoyed these updates, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos like this one and get updated every week, make sure to subscribe to my channel, and then I will see you in my next video. Bye!